I woke up to my alarm clock at 6 a.m. so I could get ready for work. As I rolled out of bed, something on my stomach made me freeze. I felt around in the darkness and it was hard, cold, and definitely not a part of my body. I turned on the lights and screamed when I saw what it was. It was a birth control implant that I never had. What did this mean? Had I been pregnant and miscarried? I didn't think I could be because my periods were completely regular. Was it from my one-night stand? If so, where was the baby? And if not, then where did it come from? This is what happened. It was late and we were both drunk when we decided to sleep together. He told me that he had a condom in his car and went to get it. But when he came back, he only had one condom wrapper. Still, we decided to go for it. He told me that he would take a Plan B pill the next day. I laughed and told him that he wouldn't have to. I was on birth control. The next morning after, he told me that he took a Plan B pill just in case. I asked him why he needed to, since we used protection, and he said that he wasn't sure. We said our goodbyes, and I never thought about him again until a few months later. I started feeling really bad cramps, and I knew that I had my period. The pain was unlike anything that I had ever felt before. I laid on the bathroom floor in tears while my mom rubbed my back and tried to comfort me. Then it hit me. I had never missed a period in my life, and now I was having horrible cramps. Could I be pregnant? I needed to tell my mom. When she drove me to the doctor, I was so embarrassed. How could I tell her what happened? I knew that she would freak out, and rightfully so. My dad and I weren't married, and I was only 17 years old. When I told her, she was quiet for a second, then she said, "I'm not mad at you. Let's just focus on getting you checked out." I cried the whole way through the exam, and all my mum did was hold my hand. I will never forget that. After the doctor confirmed that I wasn't pregnant, my mom and I went home. I don't remember much after that. I was probably in shock or something because my entire life flashed before my eyes. I knew that my parents would kill me if they found out that I slept with someone else other than my boyfriend, even though we weren't married. I couldn't bear the thought of their disappointment, so I kept it to myself and secretly made an appointment with a gynecologist. At the appointment, the doctor explained everything to me and prescribed me medication. I was able to get rid of whatever was wrong with me, but it was still painful. I couldn't help but cry. I wished that I could tell someone what happened to me, but I couldn't. Not only was I ashamed, but I also didn't want to disappoint my parents. In the following weeks, I became obsessed with taking pregnancy tests. They all said that I wasn't pregnant, which I was thankful for, but something was still very wrong. I still had horrible cramps and a constant dull ache in my lower abdomen. I told my mom that I needed to see a different doctor. She agreed, but I lied and told her that I wanted to see a dermatologist because my skin was acting up. She didn't ask any questions and booked the appointment. On the day of the appointment, I told the doctor about my cramps and constant pain. He examined me and ordered an ultrasound. I was scared that he would find something horrible. What if it was too late? What if I did get pregnant and my body didn't even know it yet? I knew that these thoughts were irrational, but I couldn't help but think them anyway. A few days later, the results were back, and I learned that nothing was wrong with me. Relieved, I shared the news with my mum. Then we talked about my skin. When the dermatologist suggested that I might have an allergy, I cut him off. "Allergies are genetic," I said. I didn't want him to run tests on me. I knew that there was nothing wrong with me. I just didn't know what it was. The months passed and the pain continued. I was seeing different doctors, and none of them could figure it out. I stopped going to appointments because I was sick of the pitying looks and the feeling of being helpless. I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I hated it. Then one day I was in the shower and I noticed something. There was a small lump on my left side. I froze when I felt it. I was terrified. Was it cancer? I got out of the shower and looked it up online. I calmed myself down by telling myself that it was probably just a cyst. But deep down, I knew that I needed to see a doctor. My family doctor referred me to a gynecologist who examined me and performed a laparoscopy. He told me that he would be able to tell me more after the surgery. I agreed and prayed that it would be over soon. Finally, I would get answers. When I woke up from the surgery, I was confused. Why did the doctor put a bandage on my belly button? I asked him what he found during the surgery, but he only said that he was surprised. "What do you mean?" I asked, but he didn't answer me. Instead, he left the room. I was furious. The next day he came into my hospital room with a smile on his face. "You're lucky that you came to see me," he said. "I've been practicing for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like this." Confused, I asked him what was wrong with me. "You have a rare form of endometriosis," he said. "You have a small piece inside your abdominal cavity. It's actually blocking your fallopian tube." "What?" I asked. "How does it look?" He smiled at me. "Like a little nugget," he said. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means that you got pregnant one time and the embryo implanted in your abdominal cavity," he said. "But you've never been pregnant, right?" I nodded. "That's correct. So this means that the embryo died and now it's blocking your fallopian tube," he said. "How long has this been there?" I asked. "For 8 weeks," he said. "You've been carrying a baby for 8 weeks and didn't even know it." I was shocked. How could this be possible? The only time that I could have gotten pregnant was with my one-night stand, but how could a baby grow in my stomach without me showing any signs of pregnancy? The doctor removed the embryo and my cramps and pain disappeared. A year later, I'm still trying to figure out how this could happen. I know that it sounds unbelievable, but I have the ultrasound results to prove that it's true. I was pregnant and miscarried without even knowing it, and if it hadn't been for my one-night stand, I would have never known.